Hi friends, it's Aubrey, and I just have a few minutes to share with you a really good deal I got um, from a local person who was selling some of their plants. And that is a way that you can actually get a really great bargain on your um, plant purchases. Is if you keep an eye on like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and forgetting the other one. There's is it next door, something like that. There's so many of these like online things where people in the community will share what they're going to sell. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, when you're gardening, certain plants just really thrive, right? Like you might be really good at planting a certain thing and you might plant a dozen things, but two or three things really just take off, especially perennials or things that are self-seeding, things like that. And that's an opportunity for you to make a little bit of money. It's also a really great opportunity to meet your neighbors, meet people in the community, and encourage people who maybe um, are intimidated by the prices, and also because you're planting something that is acclimated to your area, it's much more likely to do better than if you got it from a big box store. So I love buying plants from people in my community, my neighborhood, and sometimes I'll sell plants for a very small cost, mostly just because it's time consuming. But I like to really push it out into the community and to share. And I often give things away for free too, especially to my students, my friends, my family. I want to show you what I got. I'm really excited. So I spent $60. I couldn't believe she sold her plants for $2 each. And it gets better than that. Like, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I've got so many. So take a look. So I technically bought 30 plants for $60, which is an amazing deal. Um, but look, these white strawberries are already bearing fruit. A lot of them actually are. Um, it's crazy. And so there's Alpine, the little native strawberries. These are tiny fruit, but oh my gosh, if you've never had these wild strawberries, they taste kind of like cotton candy. They're so good. I'm mildly allergic to the white strawberries, but they're worth it. They taste kind of like pineapple. They're really good. So, I got all of those strawberries and the wild ones, and these are organic white strawberries. I also got a succulent and a creeping Jenny, and I got two hazelnut trees, seedlings, and some catnip. I just couldn't believe it. And then I also had some stowaways. So one thing she showed me was like in this container here, um, there is a perennial daisy right there, and there's an oregano plant on the other side. And then I also did buy a couple of her perennial daisies. And these are the smaller variety. I grow the Shasta daisies that get really tall. So it'll be fun to add some of the shorter varieties into my smaller planters. And besides having some stowaways to have free plants, some of them actually, oops, let me get some leaves out of the way so you can see, have two strawberry plants. See, there's two in here. So, what a great deal. And on top of that, we have all these runners. And a lot of the runners have already started forming roots. Some have actually tapped down into other pots. And so I'm going to have just masses and masses of these berries. I have some of these native small wild berries, strawberries, but my plant doesn't send runners out like this. It's really big. It's actually, I have two of them, and they're really big, but they're not sending out runners, but they give me a lot of fruit. So I'm really excited about this because I want to have masses of these just like all over the place. Any gap I have, I'm going to fill it up. So super excited. And I also have, she got me this bag here too. I have another hazelnut tree in there and several more strawberries and other things in there. So, what a deal. So there's just so many opportunities for you guys to boost your local economy. And one thing I sometimes think too is about how things used to be, how people used to barter and trade and so forth. I don't see a lot of people wanting to do that, but at least buying things from your neighborhood and your neighbors within your community, I think is a really great idea. It keeps those dollars in the local economy, um, and the plants are going to be acclimated to your area. There's just so many perks, right? And like I said, a lot of times when you garden, there are some things that you have to work harder to grow, but somebody else, they just thrive, right? And so when you have that, that green thumb for strawberries, so you have that green thumb for lemon balm or whatever it is, you have an opportunity to make a few dollars by selling those plants. If you sell over $100, you technically have to have a license. But if you're giving them away as gifts or trading and things like that, I think what a wonderful way to really bless your neighborhood and to share your love of gardening. Every time I go to get plants from somebody, we always end up striking up a nice conversation. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Check out Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor, and Craigslist, and look for plants and see what people are getting rid of. I love to do this all the time. It's amazing how many great deals there are to be had. So I need to have a plant sale like they did. She did. She had like her whole drive, like there was like a side area that's the size of a driveway, but it wasn't her driveway, and it was full of plants. She must have had hundreds. So, I got 30, and I didn't even put a dent into what she had. So she could have her own nursery, honestly. Anyway, God bless you guys. Live long and prosper, and I'll see you on the next episode.